Okay, for my sermon this morning, I want to go to Luke 5. I'm going to read the first 11 verses. Luke chapter 5. One day, as Jesus was standing by the lake, the people were crowding around him and listening to the word of God. He saw at the water's edge 2 boats left there by the fishermen who were washing their nets. He got into one of the boats, the one belonging to Simon, that's Peter, and asked him to put out a little from shore. Then he sat down and taught the people from the boat. When he finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out into deep water and let down your nets for a catch." And Simon answered, "Master, we worked hard all night and haven't caught anything, but because you say so. Because you say so, I will let down the nets." And when they had done so, they caught such a large number of fish, their nets began to break. So they signaled their partners in the other boat to come and help them. And they came and filled both boats, so they filled them so that they almost began to sink. When Simon Peter saw this, he fell at Jesus' knees and said, "Go away from me, Lord, I'm a sinful man." For he and all his companions were astonished at the catch of fish they had taken. And they were James, John, sons of Zebedee, Simon's partners. And then Jesus said to Simon, "Don't be afraid. From now on, you'll fish for people." So they pulled up their boats upon the shore, left everything, and followed him. Now that's what I want to preach from this morning, just from a little bit. I know Laura Ott said she came to church because she heard I had a good sermon. Laura, I did not say it was going to be a good one. I just said I had finished it. So I'm going to preface this for Laura Ott. I don't know if this is going to be any good or not, but I got it done early. And you'll see the pictures if you follow me on Facebook. You'll see the pictures of what Laura and I built yesterday. Laura and I built something yesterday, but it's a surprise, so you'll have to go to Facebook later and see it. Okay. Sometimes people wonder why Jesus was so popular, why the crowds just kept following him everywhere he went, and hordes of people, thousands of people would follow him. And here's the reason. Jesus would go from town to town. He'd maybe start down in Hecker. You know, he'd see Jessica and the whole gang down in Hecker, and then he'd come to Paderborn. You know, he'd see Kim Sellers down at Paderborn with Floyd, and then he'd come to Floraville and see Coach Duck. You know, and he would go from town to town and teach. But while he was there, he'd heal all their sick people. Can you imagine? He'd heal all their sick people, and every once in a while, if you were lucky, he'd do a miracle in front of you. He'd do some kind of a miracle. You know, like Floyd Sellers runs out of fish down at the fish fry. Jesus comes in, all of a sudden there's fish everywhere. You know. So if you were lucky enough, you'd even catch Jesus doing a miracle. I tell you what, Laura and I sat in the doctor's office the other day for 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. I tell you what, if Jesus were here and I heard he's down in Hecker, I'm going to spend the day. I'm not leaving till I see him. And I'm dragging every sick person with me. Now, Jesus is preparing his disciples for the future. He's trying to get them ready, okay? And he's telling them, you fish now. He said, you're going to fish for people. Now, I'm going to put another, Laura, I'm going to put another, what am I going to call this? We're not even going to get to the fishing part. I started writing this, and I got so involved in the other stuff, we're not even going to get to the fishing part. So anyway, forget the title of the sermon, okay? Jesus uses their boat as a platform because there's a horde of people following him. So what he does is he says to Simon, he says, "Hey, you're not using your boats right now. Can I hop in your boat and can I sit in your boat on the shore and push me out a little bit, and then I'll teach the people from the boat." Okay, kind of like a platform up here. You know, pretend I'm on a boat right now. Pretend I'm with Russ right now on a boat, you know. But we're not fishing. Instead, I'm teaching, okay? This is what it would be like. Jesus is on the boat, and he's teaching the crowds, okay? And he's teaching them. And here's what happens. When they're done, when Jesus is done, he's going to reward Peter for letting him use his boat, okay? Here's one thing that I thought of. You know what? I don't think we talk about God rewarding us as much as we do, as much as we should. I think we talk a lot about God, but I don't think we talk enough about God rewarding us. Do you realize that God rewards you? Have you ever been rewarded by him? Okay, 3 people, that's good. That's good. God does reward him. He's about to reward Peter for his kindness for letting him use the boat. Now somebody might say, Matt, where's my reward? Okay, you just said God rewards people. Where is my reward? We've heard that term, right? Somebody will say that. Remember Fred Sanford? I'm going home to my reward. Elizabeth, I'm coming home. I'm going to my reward. We're not talking about that reward. We're talking about God rewarding you while you're here in different types of ways. Somebody says, well, where's my reward? It's like life. You are rewarded when you pass the test. You got to pass the test first to be rewarded. And guess what? You are tested every day. Did you realize that? Even if you even if you stay in your pajamas and watch TV all day, you are being tested every single. Anybody realize that? Think about that tomorrow. Every single day you are here, you are being tested in one way or the other. And when you pass the test, I believe God rewards you. Like for instance, one time, years ago when I lived in the trailer, I was tired. I came home, I was tired, just me and the kids. The kids were little. And I was really tired, and I laid down on the couch. Well, I'm sleeping, and all of a sudden I can feel somebody fidgeting around me, and it's my son Nathan, and he's putting a blanket over me. And I'm laying there thinking, I have raised such good kids. I'm such a good father, And then all of a sudden, about 5 minutes later, I woke up again. I could hear the shuffling around. It was Victoria. She was going through my wallet. And I'm thinking, who raised these kids? Who's responsible for this? Who did this? Nathan was rewarded for his kindness. Victoria got a speech on greed. Okay, greed. Let's see, how many commandments did she break here? Greed, theft. She took a 20 out of there. Oh, I got it back. But anyway, Nathan was rewarded. Victoria got a speech on greed. I believe God rewards. Oh, here we go. Oh, the old Pentecostals coming out at me when I quote this verse. In the book of Malachi in the Old Testament, what did God say? He said, when you are faithful, when you are generous, when you do what I tell you to do, he said, I will open up the floodgates of heaven, and I will pour you out a blessing you will not even be able to contain. Well, I got a little more wilder than you did about that. But anyway, I will pour out a blessing. I will open the floodgate. I will push the floodgates of heaven open, and I will pour you out a blessing you will not be able to contain. All because he rewards us. He is a rewarder when we do what we're told, when we obey, when we listen, and when we pass the test. He rewards us. Now, he's about to reward Peter. Peter's a fisherman. They've been out all night, didn't catch anything. So here's what Jesus says. He says, go back out, try it again, and cast your nets out into the deeper water. Okay? And I love what Peter says. I love Peter's response. He says to Jesus, well, I can hear it. Well, we were out all night. We didn't catch anything. Here's the words. But because you say so. Because you say so, we will do it. Because you say so. Boy, I wish we'd do that more, don't you? I wish we'd say that more. to God. I don't want to do this, but because you say so, I will. How many times have we said that? I don't want to let it go. There's something in my life and I need to let it go, but I don't want to let it go. But because you say so. How about this one? I know I need to forgive so-and-so. I know I need to forgive them, but I'm having way too much fun talking about them and gossiping about them. And then you know what happens? When you don't like somebody and you find somebody else who doesn't like them, it's an instant bond, isn't it? You don't care how they vote or who they worship or whatever. They hate the same person I hate. Don't look at me like I'm some nut up here. You've done it too. In fact, I can point you out. I know you very well. But because you say so. This book here, what do you think when you see this? It's the Bible. Just in case you were wondering, it's a Bible. This is my Pentecostal Bible, by the way. See, it's got the dove on it. That's why Shanna preached so good last week. She read out of my Pentecostal Bible. Well, she preached good. She's good. I'll talk more about her later. But anyway, a lot of people think, Sam, a lot of people see this book. They think it's a rule book. Because it's just got a bunch of don'ts. Don't steal, don't commit adultery, don't lie. You know what this really is? This is a book to guide you through life. If you read this book and you follow what's in it, this is the secret of contentment in life. It's in here. How to be content, how to find joy, how to find peace, how to find, here we go, fulfillment. Because let me be honest with you. A lot of that stuff you watch on TV, those shows, or that stuff you read on the net, I've been edgy all week, Susan, all week, so I'm still a little edgy. It's a bunch of lies. All of it is a bunch of lies. If you're basing your life on what you're watching on television, you're filling your brain with lies. Let's go way back, because I don't even know what you all watch now. I watch Duck Dynasty and Mountain Man. That's all I watch. I don't know what you watch anymore. But let's go on the way back dial. How about this? Dallas. Remember JR? Who shot him? Peyton Place. Dynasty. And Young and the Restless. Is that still on? Is Victor Newman still on that show? He's got to be like 400 years old by now. He's still on there? Seriously? Wow. Somebody said they're not even young anymore, but they're still restless. All that junk, that's a lie. It's all a lie. Everything about it is, and I know it's entertaining and all that, because what's the news shows now? Something about anatomy or something? Or is that one of the popular shows? Or is that a big one? I don't know. If it's not Duck Dynasty, I couldn't even tell you. But all of that, none of that will show you how to live a life of fulfillment or joy or peace. So here's what happens. Peter says this, because you say so, we will go back out and we'll throw our nets down. There had to be a little murmuring, didn't there? When they put the boats back out, there had to be a little murmuring. Like, you ever do this? I do this to Laura all the time when I'm somewhere I don't want to be. You ever do this? I can do this, watch. Because I'm afraid people can read lips. So I do this. I like, Laura, can we go now? Oh, I didn't know he'd be here. Can we leave? Can we leave now? There had to be some murmuring, right? We've been fishing all night, and that guy out there just said, go ahead and start up again. I want to go to bed and take a nap. I really don't want to go back out and fish. See how good I am at this? If I'm here at your house and I'm just doing that, you just tell me to go. There had to be some murmuring, and here's the famous word. This should be, you know what, Sarah, this should be the name of the sermon, because you say so. Because you say so, we'll go back out. We'll go back out. And guess what happens? What they do, these guys aren't fishing with poles. These guys are fishing with nets. Ever been down to Louisiana and watch these men and women fish like that? It's just like a big net. Sometimes it's a big circle, and there's weights all around them, and you got to be good at it. They flip. It's like a frisbee. They flip the net out. It goes out straight, and it lands, and then those sinkers drop it, and you got ropes. And as soon as you know it hits, you pull on those ropes, and then you pull up the fish, whatever fish it caught, like a net. And it's just like fishing too, if you fish, especially for catfish, you got your line and you got a little tug on it, Well, these guys are probably they're pulling that rope a little bit, see if there's anything in there, and all of a sudden they're probably like, you know what, there's something in here, guys. Peter, there's something in here. I don't know what. All of a sudden they're pulling a little harder, and it's like, uh-oh, there's something big in here. Maybe it's a grouper. Ooh, that's my favorite fish down in Florida. Maybe it's a bigger. Well, they don't have groupers over where we're talking about. I got off subject, but anyway, they're like, there's something in this deal now. There's something in here, and they pull up the nets, and it is the biggest catch of fish they've ever caught. And now the nets are actually starting to break. Now they're starting to break, and now they're trying to get these fish on board. So, in other words, what's happening here is that Peter is being rewarded out of his generosity for lending Jesus his boat. Jesus is rewarding Peter now, opening the floodgates of heaven with fish for Peter. He passed the test. Little Russell, he passed the test. He's looking right at me. He's into this. He passed the test, and now he's being rewarded for his kindness. That happens, because it happened to me the other day. Saturday morning, I'm heading to Dollar General. Don't you love this? And I don't have a fancy car or anything. I just drive an Equinox. There's nobody there. There's nobody in the parking lot. So I park by the highway. There's no cars where I'm parking. So I'm getting out of the car. Here comes this crazy woman in a truck. She parks right next to me and almost takes my door off. Broke my fingernail because I had to shut the door real fast to keep it from being torn off. And I just looked at her, and you know what I did? I just smiled. It's that insane smile, like the Joker. It's a little insanity look. Yeah, that's the one right there. Virginia's got it. But I just smiled at her, and I thought, there's bigger fish to fry. You want to wreck my car, that's fine. I don't care. So it didn't bother me. So I went to Dollar General, come back out, my phone rings. Guess who it is? It's the bank. We had that hailstorm. We had some damage to our house. It's all finished. They said, hey, Matt, there's some leftover money. We're going to release it to your checking account. $640. Jackpot, yeah. This is the verse I thought of. I will open up the floodgates. And I release 614 fish to Peter. I'm going to release $614 in Matt's account. Then they asked me, do you want in the joint account or in your own account? Well... New shotgun. I said joint. God rewards us when we pass the test. When you pass the test, that's when God rewards us. Okay. Well, I've been preaching way too long here. I got to cut some of this. Okay, I'm just going to go to the end. I'll preach that next Sunday. That's good stuff here. One of the things Jesus taught us that I don't like. Ever read something out of the Bible and you're like, man, I wish he hadn't said that. Ever do that? You know what mine is? When Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount, lend to anyone who asks. If anyone wants to borrow anything, let him use it. Seriously, Jesus? And that is one of the verses I do not like. And that's the one I struggle with when it says, well, because you say so. You know why I don't like lending things to people? It's the same reason you don't like lending things to people. It's because they'll either break them or they don't give them back. Right? They bring them back. Ever lend somebody something and it comes back in a grocery bag and it's jingling? I hate when people do that. But I think what Jesus is trying to teach us is he's trying to teach us that everything we own is a blessing and it's temporary. And it really, because we live in a temporary world and you can't take anything with you, let me ask you this. Do you really own anything? Can't take it with you. Do you really own anything? And then here I'll close with this. And if you're like this, I apologize, but I'll judge you later. Laura and I have known folks, I've known folks over the years. If you do this, I apologize, but they got a really beautiful house, and they're terrified of anybody coming in and making it dirty. So you got to take your shoes off. Or you ever go to somebody, visit somebody, and they give you the little blue booties to put on your shoes? And they're worried. And they're worried you're going to make the house a mess. And I've even been in houses where I've used the bathroom and I was told the soaps are for decoration. They're decorative. You don't use the soaps. Because they're little shapes. They look like diamonds. They look like ducks. I said, what is this, BYOS? Bring your own soap? I mean, do I got to bring a bottle of goop with me wherever I go now? And they worry about. I've known people who won't even have children or pets because they will destroy your house. I guarantee it. Yeah. Oh, they will, Virginia. Trust me. People like that. Here's the big question. You ready for this? I'm going to amaze you with this question. And I came up with this yesterday. Do they own the house or does the house own them? Ooh. Uh-oh. Ooh, Matt got that one, didn't he? Do they own the house or does the house own them? Jesus said, anything that controls you is your master. Anything that controls you is your master. And what he's trying to teach us here is, with the lending thing, is don't let anything master you but me. Don't let anything master you but just me. Okay? Jesus is teaching us this, that this is the guidebook to life. If we read it, if we learn it, if we teach it, and if we live it, that's where we will find contentment, we'll find happiness, and we will find joy. I'm going to keep preaching on this next week, okay? Let's pray. Father, Jesus taught us some things. I'm going to be honest. He taught us some things that we don't want to hear. A lot of people get into religion thinking it's all sunshine and puppies. And then they start reading the Bible. And they find out some great things, that Jesus loves them and that heaven is waiting for us when we believe. But then they find out, oh, wow, Jesus gave us some kind of tough things to do while we're here. So help us to do these things and to realize we are rewarded. You will open up the floodgates of heaven and reward us when we pass the test. Father, we are tested every single day. May we pass the test in Jesus' name. Amen.